Greetings, this is Amy Wentley with Chai Knuckles Knitting, and this is episode 2019-3, Icord Bind Off and Applied Icord. The I-cord is a way to make a nice finished edge to your work, and there are two ways that you can do it. One is as a bind off, so that's a type of bind off where you have your live stitches. You're at the end of the project and you're going to bind stitches off and you're going to be using them with this I-cord method. The second way to add an I-cord is called an applied I-cord. And by applied it means that you're going to be putting it onto a piece of knitting that doesn't have live stitches. So for instance, if I wanted to pick up stitches at the edge and add an I-cord to it, and an example of this would be at a neckline, for instance, or on the band, like the button band of a sweater. That would be applying the I-cord as opposed to binding off with the I-cord. So I'm going to start off and I'm going to demonstrate how to do an I-cord bind off. And here are the instructions for that. We're going to start off and we're going to cast on 3 stitches to the left needle using the knitted cast on. And the way the knitted cast on works is that you start knitting a stitch, you wrap the yarn around and pull the yarn through, and you pull out a nice loop, and instead of dropping the stitch off, you put this loop over your left hand needle and you've increased by 1 stitch. You've cast on 1 stitch. So we're going to do that again. Insert the needle into that new stitch, wrap, pull the loop through, and put it up on your needle. That's 2. And then we'll go ahead and put the needle in as if to knit, wrap the needle, pull a loop through, and put it up on the left needle. So I have added 3 new stitches here. So I have 3 new stitches, and then I have my bunch of old stitches. Okay? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to knit 2 stitches, and then I'm going to knit the next stitch through the back loop. So 1, 2, and I'm going to knit 2 together through the back loop. The 2 I'm knitting together is one of my new stitches and one of the original stitches that was part of my work, and I'm going to knit through the back loop to twist them, and I'm going to knit the stitch, knit those 2 together. So now I am going to move the 3 stitches just knitted back to the left needle. So 1, 2, 3. I move them without twisting. Okay? Now I'm going to repeat rows 2 and 3 until I have 3 stitches left on my needle. So I'm going to knit 1, excuse me, knit 1, knit 1, knit 2, knit 2 through the back loop. And you'll notice there's a gap here that I'm bridging. And what I'm doing is I'm adding one of the recent stitches to my original stitches, and I am knitting them together through the back loop. And then I move the 3 stitches back to my left needle, and then I knit 2, whoops, I knit 2, and I knit 2 together through the back loop, again bridging that gap. Knit 2 together through the back loop. So what you'll notice is happening, if you look now, I'm going to move these 3 stitches back to the left needle, and then you'll notice that my working yarn is actually coming out of this 3rd stitch. And what's happening when I knit that first stitch is I'm pulling the stitches together into sort of a tube, well, which is called an I-cord. And it's going to make this nice edge. So if you just bear with me for a minute, I can show you how that will look as we go along. Okay. Oopers. Okay. And then knit 1, 2, knit 2 together through the back loop. and then slip, slip. Try not to split your yarn. Slip, 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 and then knit 1, knit 2, knit 2 together through the back loop, and move the stitches over. Do this one more time, and then I'm going to pause the filming for a minute, and I will come back when I have 3 stitches left. So there we go. Bridge the gap, knit 2 together through the back loop, and then move, move, move. Okay, I will be back in a minute when I get to the end, and I'll show you the end result. I'll get to 3 stitches before the end. Hi, I'm back. At this point right now, I've got 4 stitches left on my needle, and I'll show you what I'll be doing here to get it down to 3. So I'm going to knit 1, knit 2, and knit 2 together through the back loop. And then I'm going to move all 3 stitches back to the left needle. Got 3 stitches left. And then what I'm going to do is bind off these 3 stitches in the traditional method. So I'll knit 1, knit 2, lift the first stitch over the second, then knit 1, lift the first stitch over the second, and then I'm going to break my yarn because I inconveniently don't have scissors here, and I will pull that through, and that's the end. So it makes this beautiful edge, beautiful rounded edge. Isn't that lovely? And I will mention that this was done from the front side, and it made this nice rolled edge. If you did it from the back side, you would have the pretty rolled edge on the back side, and it would look like this on the front. So you really do want to do it from the front side. If you did this in the round, what you could do is you could keep the last 3 stitches on your needle. You could pick up 3 stitches over at the beginning side, and then you could do Kitchener stitch to connect them together with kind of a very unobvious seam. So that's the I-cord bind off, and again, that's used when you have live stitches on the needles, you're at the end of your project and you want to make a nice finish. So this could be for a top-down sweater, it could be the hem at the bottom and the hem at the bottom of the sleeves, that sort of thing. Okay, and there's also an applied I-cord. So in this case, you have an edge, for instance, like your cast-on edge. And what you want to do is start by picking up stitches along your cast-on edge. So with a new ball of yarn, which I happen to have here, just broke off the other end. With a new ball of yarn, you're going to pick up stitches. Now, the new ball of yarn doesn't get involved quite yet. You're going to pick up the stitches first, and you're going to pick them up. You're not going to pick up and knit. You're just picking them up. So I am picking up the right hand leg of these stitches as I go across. So 3, 4, and in this case it's right under where the cast on was. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you want to, you could use a smaller needle too. That makes it a little easier to pick up, and it doesn't matter if the stitches that you're holding are on a smaller needle, just that you're knitting with the correct size needle. So I've got these picked up now, and so this is very similar to the bind off, where I'm going to start with a new ball of yarn now, and I'm going to cast on 3 stitches using the knitted cast on, just like I did before. So I'm going to do 1 cast on, oops, okay, don't get too close to the end of your yarn. I'm going to cast on 1, I'm going to cast on 2. I'm going to cast on 3. Okay. Then I'm going to knit 2. This is exactly the same. Knit 2 and then knit 2 together through the back loop. Just like I did before. So this is exactly like the bind off, except that I had to put live stitches on a needle first. So I had to pick up the stitches first. And it's going to be knit 2. Oops, don't split the yarn. Knit 2. Knit 2 together through the back loop. And this, honestly, from this point on is exactly the same. So I will not take up your time anymore. I'll let you go. And please check back for more videos coming in the future. And please check out the ones I've already done. I'll be starting a class very shortly for the Geiger sweater, which is a heavily cabled sweater by Nora Gahn, put out by Brooklyn Tweed. And so you can look for some nice videos on that coming soon to YouTube near you. So thank you very much for your time, and come back soon. Bye-bye.